we start to fly. I follow my path, a story with you. Your fuzzy hair makes me think of feather in the soft morning breeze. Your way attracted me long ago, till I was free. My heart is alive, my spirit is rising high. When I'm with you as we start to fly, I follow my path, a story with you. A pearl of my blood was torn from me, despite my will to...
Hello.
Hi. Hello, Ken.
G'day, Kris.
How are you?
Great to see you in your shop.
That's right.
Hello, Retta.
Hi, Ken. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Well, I see you're having an early morning Glen Moray.
Oh, you've got a good nose.
Well, I have. Oh, there it is. Well, Kris, Retta, what's it feel like after all these years, 30-year practically career as booksellers, to be coming to the end of it? I mean, are you going to go on beyond this year?
We're coming to the end of the city location for the shop, any city location. And so the truth of it is that the lease will not be renewed. However, that does not mean that some of the substance of what the shop is, and all of the idea that the shop is, will not continue.
That's a good thing to hear.
In some way, but in an even less commercial way than this shop was.
That's understandable, because are you looking forward to having more time on your hands? Or a chance to spread your wings? Or
Possibly not.
have you not thought that far ahead?
Beyond taking up the shop, really.
Because
that's going to be big.
it is a big job, with all the stock. What does one do when one finishes a business, especially a bookshop? It's a lot of stock.
You sell it, you pass some of it on. It has been reducing because I haven't been Where's your glass? You want another one?
It's certainly one. I'll have one more. The name, the Collected Works Bookshop.
Yes.
People have said to me, "Oh, you're kidding. How could they?" And I said, "Well, it's been a long time."
Yeah.
So what will happen to the name?
A lot of things fed into Collected Works, and even when Collected Works was coined by Robert Kenny in 1984,
Yes.
him in the midst of that group of other writer, publisher, printers. This is before he calls the public meeting. Are there other writers and like-minded folk who would like to volunteer time to keep a bookshop going? So he calls it Collected Works, but already some of the contributors to that group, they occupy or were active in aspects of an alternative Melbourne, countercultural Melbourne. What I would have brought to it, and Loretta as well, would have been late 60s La Mama, and the ethos around a theatre poetry space as that was. And so for me then, taking the name with me to my loft at the back of a very small yard. So we're not renewing the lease,
Yep.
but it doesn't mean that the idea and everything that feeds that idea is going.
Fabulous.
It means that there will be a little space at the top of some rickety stairs.
So where you might receive book buyers and visitors.
Yes, by appointment.
Probably,
appointment
I mean,
only, no?
in a very, that's right, a very even more amateurish way, you know, which I like.
Well, you're being very modest because there's been
honestly,
nothing amateur about the shop over the years. However,
Yes.
will this give you a chance to put pen to paper, to maybe meditate on a career behind selling books?
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you got projects? Because I remember years ago, was it Air in a Wheat Field?
Oh yes, my mags.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll never do another printed mag. Retta used to
That was rodeo.
rodeo them, of course, with the machine.
Of course, rodeo. You say
Remember
that to
rodeo?
youngsters these days, they have no idea what you're talking about.
No. There has been, I did do an online version of that magazine but I haven't done anything online with the magazine for about 2 years. But I've never stopped writing. It's just that I have a very contrary view of publishing, especially publishing me. So I'm very happily writing, but less happy about distributing what I write.
Is that because of a sensitive social political attitude toward what the publishers are like, or just because you're a private sort of writer?
It could be some of those things. I mean, some of it was, certainly since the 80s, an increasing sense of being English living in Australia. Whereas in my first years here, 1966, 67, 68, 9, I was at war with my father, my late dad. Therefore, that means I was at war with England. I had come away, I'd escaped, and I'd met all sorts of people in Melbourne. I'd landed as a poet-artist and met Loretta, for example, at the New Theatre, Melbourne. Met her at a demo in 1967, January, and then was inducted into the New Theatre that Loretta was a big part of.
Have you made a rapprochement with the old country, with England?
Well, since the late 80s, I rediscovered, I had money in my pocket, I could go back. I had money enough for a fare, and I could go back regularly, which I have done. And I met, in some of those years, I would meet lots of the English writer colleagues, friends, but that lessened, and I then just got used to a new county that we were now living in as a family, which was Dorset rather than Hampshire, where I'd grown up. And no, my life changed with those journeys. A Melbournian, yes, but probably an Australian not. So that would have an effect then in terms of Australian representation. If an anthology was being made and I was lucky enough to be invited, it would be a real question as to whether I felt, to lapse into the parlance, dinky-die, should I be in it? I often felt a fraud, and so I finally withdrew from all representation. I didn't feel that I should be in Australian representations when I was still working out my status as English vis-a-vis England, let alone Australia.
The writers, when you were a young fellow, who did inspire you? Who were you reading, say, in 66, 68,
Oh, right.
those years?
Oh, yes.
Can you remember that?
Yes, absolutely. The Americans were incredibly important to me.
Kerouac.
That's right.
Ginsberg.
For me, at that time, right up until the 80s, in a literary environment, I was the most serious about Kerouac and the Beats. there was a real snootiness amongst literary people for what that writing was. They would trot out the little snides. I think it might have been Lionel Trilling, or it might have been, oh, terrific fellow, I've liked him since, but who said Kerouac doesn't write, he types. And you can oh man, Charles Olson, man.
Quite.
But the thing is, I read everything. There was nothing I didn't read.
Yeah.
British, Irish, Europeans, Americans. But it's a bit like my friend Frank Prince saying, he said, for him, Frank Prince, coming from South Africa in the late 30s, he said, Eliot was the poet, but Pound gave you the passion to write. So for me, my passion, my inspiration, if you like, in a social, cultural, as well as, of course, a language point of view, was coming from a rough and ready poetry, not from a reaching for the literary type. However, I did have periods in which I was thought to be, I think, a very kind of overcomplicated poet, a very literary poet.
We start to fly, I follow my path, a story with you. A pearl of my blood was torn from me, despite my will to fight. What I left behind still keeps me strong in my spirits are rising high when I'm with you. As we start to fly, I follow my path, a story